When I first became a journalist more than 40 years ago, I was so naive, I was so trusting. I mean, that's the young, isn't it? I thought I'd join the truth business. Well, either I've grown up or journalism has gone down the toilet, maybe a bit of both, because I now have zero trust in the journalism profession. And that is because I have seen how the news is so often manipulated and how bias infects so much of what you are told, or more particularly not told. And the consequences are getting extremely serious, world-changing serious. Now, tonight I'll give you two more examples, and not this time involving global warming or the so-called stolen generations. I mean, I've told you before the truth about those. I'll start with the latest of the two examples, and the one that's not as serious as the second, but illuminating. There's just been another mass shooting in the United States. 6 people murdered at a Walmart shop, allegedly by an employee there. This man, and no one is making any big ideological point about that, not about racism or hate crimes or whatever. Now, you might think you know why. But that was not the case on the weekend when this man, Anderson Lee Aldrich, allegedly killed 5 people at a gay nightclub in Colorado. And journalists of the left immediately blamed Republicans and journalists of the right and critics of transgender politics, as did Joe Biden's transportation secretary.
You can't target a group to be feared and to be hated. A group, by the way, that never did anything to you, but is politically convenient to attack. And then act surprised when a disturbed person, or who knows, goes out and follows that through with physical violence.
And of course, even Fox News' Tucker Carlson, a conservative, got blamed, even threatened with court action over at the left-wing MSNBC.
He's a consumer of the people we just rattled off, from Lauren Boebert to Tucker Carlson. Let's get it out. Let's get it out at trial. Those people should face civil consequences.
But there's been a very surprising twist that should change all that in an instant. Joining me is Ami Horowitz, an American commentator and filmmaker. Ami, great to see you again. This shooting on the weekend at the gay nightclub, it's the result of hate whipped up by the right, the Republican Party in particular. True or false?
It's false. It's fact check, false. But of course, let's not let the facts get in the way of a good narrative, right? Because when it comes to media, it's narrative uber alles, right? It's the most important thing, narrative above all. And that's what we're seeing here. Like, let's remember that if the converse is happening, they always say, let's wait a second, let's wait for the facts, let's wait days and days before we suss out exactly what happened. But when they saw an opportunity to politicize the death of 5 people at a discotheque, immediately they jumped on this train of let's blame the Republicans for this. But then the revelation came, this guy was non-binary. He was in fact himself, or they themselves, I think is the correct way of doing this, were of a gay, non-binary, trans association. So all of a sudden, the narrative had to switch. And look, I am telling you now, Andrew, this shooting is going down the memory hole. This shooting will be forgotten because now it doesn't fit the narrative.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe because I'm older and more cynical than you, but I wonder whether he's suddenly going to have a new metamorphosis. What did we do to this poor man that he reacted in such a violent way? Society is still to blame. I think there might still be a shift in this one. But to a more serious example, Ami, of the media totally misrepresenting the truth, and in fact, in this case, influencing the outcome of the last presidential election. One of the big mainstream TV stations of the left, CBS, this week announced it had finally discovered that the laptop of Joe Biden's son Hunter, which was abandoned in a repair shop, was genuine. But it's done this 2 years after the New York Post had said so, nearly 2 years after the election, and so, Joe Biden won. And it's only doing so now that the Republicans are going to investigate this laptop formally in Congress after winning back control of the House. And suddenly CBS says, oh, that laptop that we've ignored for years might actually be true.
And as Republicans take control of the House, Hunter Biden, the president's son, will be a target for investigations. And that means data from a laptop reported to belong to Biden could be crucial to the investigatory process. And we commissioned an independent forensic review to determine its authenticity. Senior investigative correspondent Catherine Harrods joins us now with what we found. Catherine, I'm very interested. Good morning.
The laptop data we had analyzed showed no evidence it was faked or tampered with.
And CBS is now even raising the corruption allegations that would dismissed by Joe Biden and the media and 51 top US intelligence officials before the last election. Ami, the way that the media left, and Twitter, and Facebook, and intelligence officials and the Democrats stifled this story for years. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is turning out to be a smash the media narrative segment, and I love it. I love it. I love bashing on the media because they're so untruthful. And yes, this is a very big deal. Well, the New York Post, a major media outlet in the United States, which skews center-right. It's not even a right-wing outlet, it's a center-right outlet. When they found the laptop, they verified what was in it, and they published it. Not only were they vilified, look, going back to Twitter. Now, thank God it's under new ownership, new management. But Twitter banned the New York Post, one of the largest media organizations in the country, because they took a step out of line. They didn't stick with the narrative. And this is what we're facing. It's this deadly combination of media, traditional media and social media coming together to ally themselves for a political perspective. And what's at stake? Free speech is at stake.
Yeah, but Ami, it's even more worrying for me than here is the media colluding to defeat, and I think their intervention helped beat Donald Trump. It's an historically important media manipulation. I think it robbed Donald Trump of the election. But what concerns me even more is that 51 top US intelligence officials, including some former Republican-appointed ones, including former heads of the CIA, went out in public and said what they could not know and what turns out to be false. This seems to be Russian collusion, Russian disinformation. How on earth did that happen? What does that say about the United States?
It means that we're entering, or if we're not careful, we're going to enter a very dark place. It means that people don't care about the truth. Doesn't matter. It's politics that matters. It's your perspective winning out over the other guy that matters. And if that means you're going to sully the name of somebody and you're going to use your credentials, and frankly, as far as I'm concerned, all these people who push this narrative, whether it be in the media, people in the government, people, and frankly, a lot of, like I said, national security people were pushing this fake narrative of Russian collusion and the Russians using President Trump as a cat's paw. No, look, people don't have credibility anymore. Look, that's the problem. You had former head of the CIA who was pushing this drivel. How can we now look at a guy like that, or look at anybody in that position and say, well, do you have a secret narrative or a secret agenda I don't know about?
It's absolutely correct. And we shall see what this investigation uncovers if the Republicans really do get serious about potential corruption involving the President of the United States. But from what you've just said, I have little faith in the US intelligence agencies helping them discover the truth there. Ami Horowitz, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you.